How's it going, ScrubGamers? Welcome back to another video here at ScrubGames, and today we have another of our Understanding How to Build series where we go over the leaders for a set, this one being set 2, to help you understand how to build them, suit you, and basically start off with building a deck rather than just looking for a list and potentially not enjoying them. And for today, we're on to the second leader from the Villainy side of Vigilance, and that is Qira. So remember, this is helping you understand how to build a leader and not giving out lists. If you're looking for a list, you will be sorely disappointed. But if you're looking to have get some help and support to kind of help you understand how to build it to best suit you and tailor to your kind of playstyle, then keep watching and enjoy. Before we get into the video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It keeps you updated with my videos as and when they drop. And also by clicking the notification bell, you can then get alerts to when my videos do drop, so you can watch them there and then, or at a later time that suits you best. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and help you understand how to build Qira. So before we get into understanding about a leader, we need to kind of understand how to build it. We need to understand what the leader does. So because some of them have like kind of heavy archetypes, some have a certain focus. All leaders are quite unique and different and kind of play in a certain way. So to help, the first step of understanding how to build them is to understand what the leaders do. And for Qira, also subtitled "I Alone Survived," is a villainy, villainy vigilance leader. So she provides you the aspects, vigilance being blue and villainy being black. So what that means is you can play any card in a deck, no matter what. You can always play any card you want in any deck. But if the aspects on the card, being those little icons you see on the card, don't match what's on your leader or base, you have to pay an extra 2 resources along with its cost to play it out. So if you wanted to play if you had Qira here with a Cunning base being yellow, and you want to play a green card, you'd have to pay an extra 2 resources on top of its cost because you don't have green among your leader and base. And if you want to play a green heroic one, being green-white, then you would have to play an extra 4 resources because 2 aspects don't match in addition to its actual cost. So you can play anything in your deck, the actual aspects on the leader and base kind of make it so you can play cards without having extra cost to them. So do bear it in mind. Now just remember, while some cards are kind of worth paying the aspect penalty for, some of them are not. It depends on what the effects do and how useful they are for the deck or certain matchups. So while Qira provides you with Vigilance and Villainy, she also provides you with the Underworld keyword, which it got a bit more support in this. It was mainly Cunning for the set 1, but now it's spread out across a few of them. But is not one that gets much support in blue. It's more supported in some other colors, but it means that if you have anything that needs an Underworld card or anything like that, she is part of that. She has the traits that you can benefit from that. Not only that, but she deploys quite early as well, which is at 5 resources. So as long as once you get 5 resources, which is normally as early as turn 4 unless you ramp, you can deploy her out, let her join the board. And when she does, she comes down with 0 power and 8 health. So a whopping big amount of health for 8, but then no damage whatsoever. But she does have grit when she deploys, meaning that any damage she takes converts into power. So if she takes 2 damage, it converts into 2 power. So the more damage you take, the stronger she gets, which is quite nice, especially when you've got whopping 8 health on her, which is pretty nice. Now, what she does is she's got a different ability kind of in both, because she has a only ability when she's deployed is grit and also when deployed effect, but when she's not deployed in the lead area, she has a action effect, which is paying 1, which has the cost of paying 1 and tapping yourself. So paying 1 resource and tapping yourself, you get to deal 2 damage to a friendly unit, so deal 2 damage to your own unit, but then you get to give it a shield to it. So it's got a bit of damage on that helps fuel things like grit, which, as we said, the more damage it takes, the stronger it gets. So it helps facilitate that, and gives it a shield, so it's protected from damage once while it's got a shield. So when you take damage, you move the shield instead. So that's pretty nice. You can power up, and also she's a rare lead as well. She's going to be one of the ones that aren't as casually pulled as normal. And also that, but she allows you to kind of just put some damage on. So it's great with grit units, and put some shield on it, so you can kind of clash and not take damage. And then the more you can do it multiple times on any given unit. It's not like with Luke, where it's on the when you play that phase or a certain aspect. Just any unit, any of your friendly units, you can deal 2 damage to give a shield token to. Now you might be thinking, why would you want to do this? Damaging units, making them be more fragile than being taken out. Because once you lose a shield, that's it. They're a lot more fragile. But it also does pair with when she is deployed. Because when she is deployed, that's when she gets an error effect, and that allows you to heal all damage from each unit, and then deal damage to each unit equal to its half its Maria HP, rounded down. So it means if you got all those units out and they haven't lost their shields, then you get to bring out Qira, heal them all, so they still have their shields, but they're not healed, and they'll deal damage to each unit remaining to half with HP, and then they won't take any damage because they'll lose the shield instead, because this counts as damage. What it also means is that while Qira is a 0-8 when she's deployed, she's technically a 4-4 because when she comes down, it also hits herself. So she will take 4 damage because that's half her health. So she'd be 4 remaining HP and then 4 damage because of grip. So what isn't the great? It does make a good use because it makes it so you can easily you take out a lot easier when it comes to leaders, because when the leader's out, you can bring it down. They take half the damage of their health, and you can finish them off with a little bit of damage from either Qira or something else. You can easily take out leaders with her. So that's one nice little thing about her as well, and it allows you make use of her deployed effects in a good situation. So you always want to make sure. So she's one of the ones where her deploy effect, her epic action deploy herself is one where you got to basically really think about when you use it and make use of it in the best time. Not only that, she does have a showcase lead as well. Like all of them have the showcase leader, even the star decks. And this is one where I reckon the showcase is a lot better than the main lead. Like while it's not absolutely amazing, I thought it's pretty nice. Like it's more going into more look of what she was in the film, and also just looks a lot better than the original art in my view. Remember, art is subjective, so if you might not agree with me, or you might agree with me. It's up to you. If you think that showcase is not that great, or the original looks better, that's fair enough. That's your view. I feel like if you feel like with me that the showcase looks a lot better, that's your view. It's art subjective. No one's right or wrong. It's just how you feel personally. This is the showcase, which looks, as I said, in my opinion, pretty nice, but doesn't do anything different than the normal leader does. Just a little bit more shinier. So with a combination of a base, you do have then 4 different aspect combinations. So you can play Qira as double blue, blue green, blue red, or blue yellow. And the names for that, just in case you are wondering, is double vigilance, vigilance command, vigilance aggression, or vigilance cunning. Because the leader gives you the heroic or villainy trait plus one of the color traits, in this case vigilance, and then your base gives you another trait being one of the other ones, or a one to make it double. But before we get into what the best way is to build with each of these, which one's more suited, what each one does, because that's what we will get into to help you understand how to build and which one you want to build if you want to build it in one of these different aspects and which one benefits you. We got to first go over it and talk about the ratios, because in this game, like with any game, you can play more than just one copy of any card, but the maximum amount of copies you can play of a card is 3. So you can either play 3 copies of a card, 2 copies of a card, or 1 copy of a card. And there are some cards that you want to play 3 copies, and those are ones you kind of want to see. You want to see you either want to see them as early as possible, you want to see as many as possible, or you just want to make sure you do see it in the game so you can actually use it and have a good and allow it to help you win the game. So Dr. Persian is a good example of one you want 3 copies of, because he's a great unit you can play as early as turn 1. He also has a great effect and great stacks, as well. He doesn't have any power. He does have 5 health, which is quite hard to take out from after on turn 1 or even turn 2. And he has a great effect where you can tap him and deal damage to a friendly unit, either himself or another unit, and then draw cards. You can draw more cards, gain more options to have more choices when it comes to resourcing and playing cards out. So that's a good example of one you want 3 copies of. Then we got cards you might want 2 copies of, and these are normally cards that everyone for these ones are normally good for a late game that you want to see you want to either see early or see too many early, but you want to see them later on in the game, or you don't want to see as many in your opening hand. So a good example here is Pre-Vizsla, being a 7-cost 8/7 unit. That's a pretty nice on effect where it allows you to move around upgrades as long as you pay for them whenever it plays or attacked, and very good stats as well to boot, but then a very high costing. So these are ones that you don't really want to see too many in your early opening hand, because otherwise you're resourcing them, which means you don't have them for later, or you're keeping them in hand, which means you've basically got less of a hand than normal because you're holding onto this card for later game and you've got less options than you would normally. So these are sometimes ones where you want to put them down to 2 copies of, because you don't want to see them too early and have to struggle holding them and then struggle with the game, but want to see them hopefully not opening with them, so you can see them later game when they're actually useful and you can be played. And then last, we've got copies of 1 copy of a card. Like a good example here being Finalizer. These are normally cards that are tech choices where you put them in for certain matchups that are normally not as great for you to kind of help you out. And if you do see it and it's useful, there you go, you have the card. If it's not useful and you do see it, you can always resource it. And then if you don't see it, Either it's unlucky if you do need it, or if you don't really care if you don't see it because it's not useful. So these are ones you might want to want one copy of because you once again it comes down to a certain matchup and it comes up and you see it's good. If you don't doesn't come up, then it's sad. And if it doesn't come up or it does come up and you don't really need it, you can resource it or not worry about it. So hopefully that helps you understand about the ratios and when it comes to building your deck. If you want to play 3 copies of a card, 2 copies of a card, or 1 copy of a card. So now let's go into the aspect combinations to kind of see what the benefits are for each of them. So first of all, we're going to start with the double aspect because in set 1, this was one where it was a lot smaller of a card pool and very limited card pool. Normally, if you have 2 different aspects, like say you have blue and green, you have access to all the blue cards and all the green cards, giving you a pretty good card pool. But you could go double aspect in set 1, which was when you sacrifice the second aspect and all those cards that come with it. You then sacrifice that like large part of the card pool to have access to just blue and also 3 double aspect cards, being these 3 being Bendu, Protector, and Vigilance. Now, while not all decks or all leaders were good to run double colorless, oh no, sorry, not double colorless, double aspect. There were at least one leader in each aspect that was pretty good to run double aspect, but not all of them were. And while it did give you a much like smaller card pool, sometimes these 3 cards or some of the double aspect cards were good enough to warrant that reduction. But now with a second set means we've got double the amount of cards. We've got double the amount of blue cards, double amount of blue black cards, and double amount of double blue black cards as well. So you've got a lot larger of a card pool, meaning it's more of an actual option to run double aspect for decks now, because you've got more options, and the more sets we get, the more sets you get to make it so you've got a better chance to run it. And with each aspect as well, you have, because we didn't get any new rare base in set 2, so we've got still the 1 rare base for each aspect. For this one being Security Complex, whose effect by sacrificing 5 health gives you the epic action to give a shield token to a non-leader unit once a game. So you can make that. So you can either have a one-time use to get a shield unit to a non-leader, shield token to a non-leader unit once a game, but sacrifice of 5 health, or you can have one of the like 4 different, depending on like what you like the art of the 4 different bases that are just 30 health but no effect. So it depends if you want to survive better against aggro with a 30 health base, or use one of the rare bases to give you a great effect. But then you got to think about, will that effect be great, and does it outweigh the fact that you've lost 5 health? But not only that, you also have access to some cards that are double aspects. For set 1, you had Bendu, Protector, and Vigilance, being very good ones, giving you a Sentinel unit in Bendu, like a 1-cost upgrade that gave Sentinel to a card whenever, like by upgrading it from Protector, or Vigilance being one of like each aspect had the double aspect event named after itself that give you 4 of 2 options, and Vigilance was a very good one that either offered milling 6 from your opponent's deck, healing 5 from your base, killing something 3 or less, or giving a shield tip with 2 units. So very good options there, and that's what you had for set 1. And for set 2, you now get Sugi, being a 4-cost 4/6 unit that has Sentinel. If one of your opponent's cards is upgraded, while also having a smuggle cost. You got Second Chance being a very hefty costing upgrade, but gives the non-leader unit is equipped to the when defeated effect, allowing you to play it for free from your discard for free during that phase. And then the Midnight Repairs event, allowing you to heal 8 damage among all your units for the cheap cost of 2. Now these are pretty good. Now you got to think about when it comes to building double blue. One thing about Vigilance is it has kind of like a way to play, and really what the way we play with Vigilance is all about allowing basically playing defensively with the ability to heal, because a lot of the cards heal, and removing dangerous units from play using effects, and protecting your base because you've got a fair few sentinels and you're trying to always clear board and kind of heal off. Now, if you want to play this aspect, like double blue, this aspect is perfect if you want to play a patient play style and endure lots of attacks and kind of come out the end of it, controlling the game by the end of it. So if you want to go double blue, I would recommend it if you want to play, if you like play defensively and very heal, and like to play a very more controlled deck, because you've got like nice cards like here, like Bendu and Protect, allow you to give Sentinel, even Bendu, if you can get an attack off, can reduce the next non-heroic or villainy card you play by 2, which give a bit cheats and costs out, like make Vigilance here 2, or even like Midnight Repairs for free, and have like quite a lot of healing and nice combos as well. So that is double blue, so if you want to play defensively, go ahead and play that. But then we come to command. Now, you might be thinking, what is the benefit of command? What does command want to kind of offer you? Well, if you want to play command, the kind of like identity of command is to accelerate your resources and play a lot of units to strengthen units that you already have in play. And also, it's a very good choice if you want to overwhelm your opponent with a massive board presence, because you can ramp up a lot of resources to like play like bigger. You can just start then playing bigger things a lot earlier, or start playing a lot more things because you have more resources. So if you like the whole like ramping up energy and just throwing out loads of units or huge units as quickly as possible, command is a very good one for you to choose. And then once again, you have our option between a rare base, be it version lab, being most of the overused bases in the game, because what it does for its epic action is allow you to play a 6 cost or less from your hand and give it ambush. Now you do have to still pay for the cost of the cards. You don't have to pay. You're not paying a 6 cost for free. You have to pay for it, but you give it the benefit of having ambush, meaning you can ready it and attack an enemy unit the same turn it comes out, which is very good. Or you can play a 30 health base, depending on what you prefer. Now, on the dark side of command, you have some pretty nice ones like Super Laser Technician for a very good card. The ramp helps you ramp, is one of the more cards we have now for ramp, and one of the best ones as well. Because it's a unit which is hard to remove, and if it is just taken out, which you can always swing it into your opponent's unit, you can then ramp up as well. You then have things like Rook, which is a nice one. It comes in with a shield, so it comes in helped with Qira, where if it takes damage, you can basically come in with a shield with it, and then once it's attacked and lost a shield, you can use Qira to kind of put a shield back on it after it's taken a bit of damage. Well, do a bit of damage and give it a shield, so it can keep using its effect. Because its effect is when this unit deals damage, combat damage to a non-leader unit while attacking, you defeat that unit instantly. So it's kind of instant removal. It's pretty nice. Then you have some good ambush cards, good like bigger cards like Darth Maul and Vader. But Vader being a more like cheaper version of Vader, but then they have different effects. They're both 7 cost. Vader has slightly different stats, of being 5 damage but 7 health, while Maul is 7 damage, 6 health. Now they both have ambush, but Maul has overwhelm, meaning that if it defeats a unit, any excess damage that exceeds the cards that it's defeated health rolls over into your opponent's base. And the difference become really in their effects, because Darth Vader, when he's played, you can look at the top 10 cards of your deck and play any number of dark units with a combined cost of 3 or less, and play them out for free. So you can play out a 3 cost, a 2 and a 1, or 3 ones, depending on what you see in your top 10 cards. Whereas Maul on attack allows you to choose a never friendly underworld unit, and if you do, all combat damage that it would take from that battle will be dealt to that chosen unit instead of himself. Meaning you can choose Qira to take the damage instead of Maul when you attack as well if you have deployed. And not only that, you have one of the best events in the game, being Overwhelm Branch, allowing you to give for 5 resources any unit of that you control 2/2 for its phase, and then you can deal what its power is now after the boost as damage among your opponent's units, any number or across units, just on the board in any way you like. So if you have if you put on Maul and have 9 power, you now can put 9 damage however you like across the board any way you want. And then we've got the non-dark side, because remember each side comes either with a dark or light side and then the normal side of it. So for the non-dark, light or dark side of command, you got things like Scanning Officer, allows you to disrupt Smuggle, because when she's played, you can reveal 3 enemy resources your opponent controls and defeat any resource that you see there with Smuggle, and then they get to put cards from the top of the deck into resources for each card you got rid of by its effect. And you even got some healing as well in Cunning, where when you play this unit, including itself, it just doesn't show that on the hyperspace version, you get to heal and damage from your base, so give it a nice bit of healing to go with Blue's healing, and same on Consorting Star Viper, getting you a bit of healing, because while you have the initiative, Consorting Star Viper gives you Restore 2, so when it attacks, you heal 2 damage from your base, and it's got solid stats for a free cost. You also have some very good events. You have resuppliers when you ever cards you can ramp with. Basically, this one just being 3 resources, like you put as a player as a resource, so instant ramp on an event. And then you got Timely Event being a new event, which for one allows you to play a unit from your hand and give it ambush for this phase. You still got to pay the cost for the card, but as long as you're able to play the card +1, because you want extra resource to play Timely Adventures while play the cost for the card, you get to play it out with ambush, which is nice for things that don't have ambush, to be able to play them out and attack the same turn into your opponent's units as they are played. And also, this one is a nice one because it's got a smuggle cost as well, which is just 2 cost and 1 green, so you can always resource it and then use it on later, not worrying about keeping it in your hand. So that is command. So if you want to play one where just basically loading up loads of units on board, just overwhelm your opponent with like a big force, or a huge big units, then this is a good one to try out. The next we have aggression. So you might be thinking, what do you get with aggression? Well, aggression wants you to basically just do just attack with maximum efficiency and deal out a lot of damage. This is the aspect that's a great fit for people who want to play very aggressive, very fast pace, and basically just break through your opponent's defense and just throw damage at them until you win. So if that sounds like a good way to play it for you, especially when combined with blue, it could be very nice because you get heal while also throwing out damage. And the base for this one is target down if you want to go for a rare base. So same thing as the other rare base, it's 25 health, but that 5 less health gives you access to an epic action. But this one is deal 3 damage to a damaged non-leader unit. So once again, the rare bases don't affect leader really at all in any sense. But this one allows you to do like some finishing damage by doing 3 damage, but it's not just 3 damage however you choose. There's got to be something already damaged. So if you've tried to damage something, take something out, but haven't quite got to there yet, you can always use Tarkin Town as a way to finish it off by just doing that free damage. If you didn't want to have that, you could just have one of the 30 health base if you want. It depends if you want to get this one action here for a loss of 5 health or not. But then for the dark side of aggression, you've got some pretty nice units, and you've got pretty nice ones you kind of want to give damage to. So you've got Gavrin Antagonizer, a very cheap one you can play turn 1, and then also with Qira's effect in the same turn, give it 2 damage to kind of put a shield onto it. And it has Saboteur, so it can ignore Sentinel, and also defeat shields when it attacks something with shields, but also it does have a bounty, but then the bounty is just the person that draws a card when it's defeated, or the opponent draws a card when it's defeated. You also got Death Watch Loyalist being a free cost unit, but this is a nice one because it's got Grit and Overwhelm. So Grit, as we said, the more damage it takes, the more it's converted into power. So if you use Qira's effect on it to do 2 damage to a given shield, that 2 damage is converted to power, so then it becomes a 5 damage and 3 health unit with a shield on. Very nice. Not only that, but you have some pretty nice units in Jango Fett and Kirstanen, where Jango Fett is a 4 cost 3/6. It does have a little effect where if your opponent has a bounty on it, then this unit gets +3 power and overwhelm. But it's got a nice effect, which it could be handy with Qira giving a shield, where when it attacks and defeats a unit, you draw cards. You can draw more cards from this, which is very nice. Drawing more cards is just a great thing overall. And then you got Kirstanen. So he is a little bit more costly at 5, but he's a 3/7 for a stat, so quite a bit more health. And also, when played, he's also got a whole thing around bounties, where when played, if an enemy unit has a bounty, you can play this card. You can ready this card, so you can play it out and then ready him if your opponent has a bounty. And then on attack, you can choose a ground unit, and you can do 1 damage to it for each damage on this unit. So if you're using Qira to go ahead and basically deal 2 damage and put a shield on it, he is then protected from damage once. But then when he's attacking, he's doing 2 damage at least for each damage on it. Well, 1 damage for each damage on him, being 2 damage when he attacks, which is quite nice. So you can use him as a way to just like keep protected by Qira, but throw out some pretty nice damage. And you got things like Force Choke. When Qira is deployed, you got a nice way to kind of finish off something using Force Choke, especially leaders, because Qira come down and heal everything, but then do half the unit's health to them in damage. And Force Choke can let you kind of finish them off by, for 2, just dealing 5 damage to a non-vehicle unit. And but then the controller's unit does draw a card. But using this as an easy way to deploy Qira and then use Force Choke to take out a leader is just very, very nice to just instantly basically just get your 1 turn, your leader's now gone, while you still have your leader. So while they do draw a card, you still get to take out leader with a lot more ease. And then on the dark side of red, you've got some pretty nice ones about all throwing damage. You've got the House Cast Soldier, being like some cheap units like that, coming with Saboteur. You also got Patersi Insurgent, being one that's quite nice, where if you control another aggression unit, it gains raid 2, so it means when it swings, it gains extra 2 power, so it's swinging for free. And you can always put a shield in it with Qira, so like avoids taking damage. And then you even got Clan Challengers. This is a very nice one because it's a 5 cost with 3/6 for its stats, pretty decent stats for a 5 cost. It also has raid 3, so when it is attacking, it is gaining 3 power. And what's attacking, while this unit is upgraded, it gains Overwhelm. And remember, an upgrade or like upgrades include experience and shield tokens. So if you have an experience on it or a shield on it, it counts as being upgraded. So then when it swings, it's going to have Overwhelm, and that shield, basically, and while the shield's gone, it have Overwhelm still to do piercing damage, then lose a shield. So you can then swing for like a good 6 damage or something, and like put any excess damage from that unit you defeated onto your opponent's base. Not only that, you do have some events in just the normal side of aggression to help like finish off things, go well with Qira's deployed ability, like open fire, allowing you to for free resources to do 4 damage to a unit, which just like if you didn't want to pay, if you want to pay a little bit more but didn't want them to draw a card with open fire, not open fire, sorry, for force choke, you can use open fire in combination with Qira to kind of take out units. And even bombing run, you can use just deal choose arena, deal 3 damage to it, each unit in that arena. So if you deploy Qira and your opponent's got a lot of space units, they heal them all and take half as damage of their health, and use bomb and run to kind of finish them off or maybe take them out afterwards. So some really nice way to kind of spam damage out, and if you want to be very aggressive and just throw out damage, like just take out things easily and just try and win as fast as possible, aggression is a good way to play. Now, for the last aspect combination, we've got Cunning. And while Cunning has probably the least used rare base being Jealousy, which is epic action, is giving a non-leader -4 for the phase, it still is a pretty nice aspect. Because the thing that Cunning wants to do is wants to adapt to any situation with, basically just with powerful immediate effects and lots of tools for disrupting your opponent's kind of game plan. And while this aspect is a perfect fit for players who want to respond quickly to threats, you can also have an answer for anything that your opponent would try to throw at you. By if they want to play out units, you can kind of rest them, bounce them back, or you just control the game very well. And that does it through some of the really nice effects you have on it. So you've got like Bazine Natal, which gives you a nice bit of hand control. When she's played, you look at your opponent's hand and choose one of those cards and discard it. And then if you do discard a card, you get to draw. But you may discard one card from your opponent's hand, and if you do, they get to draw a card to replace it. So you don't really just make them lose a card from hand. You get to see what they've got in hand, take one card at hand, so they don't have it to use. Maybe they only got one card they can actually play this turn, for like especially turn 1. You can ditch it out of their hand. They can draw a card. If they draw never turn 1 play, they do nothing for that turn. So basically, you just destruct them for their first turn. The nice thing about this as well is it's one that has a smuggle cost, so if you want to like resource it and don't think it's useful that turn, you can always resource it and then play out later from your resources to kind of have use later. You also have Trident Voss being a very good legendary for it as well, which comes in shielded and is a bit high costing as like Vader in terms of it's a 7 cost with 5/7 to its stats, but it comes in shielded rather than ambush, and it's got a nice effect where if you have a more focus on capturing things, then you can use Trident Voss to kind of convert those captured cards into units for yourself. Because when he's played, you can choose a captured card guarded by a unit you control, and you can play it for free under your control. So you can play it out for free, but it's still come in rested, and it won't have any at one place, because when you release a captured card, any on-play effects don't trigger because it's not being played, it's just being retrieved, while it's being rescued. You also have like some nice upgrades that go well with the upgrade we've got for set 1 for blue being Entrenched, and that's frozen in carbonite. So just like it says, and just like you expect if you watch the Star Wars series, it's one that just basically stuns your opponent, because there's a free cost upgrade that you can attach to anything that's not a leader, and that attached unit can't ready, so it can't restand at the end of the turn. And also, when it's played on a unit, it exhausts it. So if it's not exhausted, it exhausts. If it's already exhausted, it stays like that. And not only that, you have No Good to Be Dead as a way to kind of lock things down and add a bit more control, because it means you can exhaust the unit and it can't ready this round. And with how the turns work in Star Wars, where at the end of the turn is when you do your whole like resupply phase, being draw a card, resource, and untap everything. Whereas at the end of the turn, before the turn passes the next one, it won't restand and it get locked down for 2 turns, which is very nice for this. And then you've got Triple Dark Raid being a very nice event, allowing you to search the top 7 cards of your deck, play any vehicle, for your deck for any vehicle and play it. It costs 5 less than what its actual cost is, and it enters play ready, so you can attack straight away. But then you have to return it to his owner's hand at the end of the phase. So it's a very nice one to play out some really big like Avengers stuff, just to then attack with it straight away, get use of its on play and win attack effect, and even just push some quick damage. And even though you get it back, you can play it back again next turn. And then for the non-dark side of it, you have some pretty nice cards as well. You got Outer Rim Headhunter, which the longest Qira stays on board as when she's deployed, you get the most benefit of this card, which is when it attacks, if you control a leader, you can exhaust a non-leader unit, meaning that what Qira's out, you can keep attacking with this and rest one of their cards to kind of disrupt them a little bit. You also have some pretty nice cards like Gamorrean guards for like a Sentinel, being like even a 4 cost, but that was why you got another Cunning card on board. You get to have Sentinel in it, and a 4 cost 4/4 is pretty decent. You also got some very good events as well in like Cunning. Cunning has some very good events, and he's got the most events I think in the game. You got things like McClunky, be a nice little trick that kind of works well with Jabba. Probably should have had Jabba on here as well. And you can return a non-leader underworld unit to his owner's hand. So, like if you've got Gamorrean cards that's taking damage, you can bounce it back to your hand. And then if you do, you deal 3 damage to your units. You can kind of finish it off with in combination with Qira's deploy effect. You also got Surprise Strike, allowing you to attack with a unit and then give it an extra 3 power for that attack to kind of push harder for damage to kind of finish off games. And even you have an additional board removal effect, card in Evacuate. Now in blue, we'll see you got Super Laser Blast, which you probably hopefully seen, which is an ace cost event for the dark side of blue that allows you, basically just kills everything on board. But sometimes you might want to kill your leader, you want to keep it around to make use of it. Well, Evacuate kind of just does that by being a 6 cost, so a little bit cheaper than Super Laser Blast, only requiring Cunning, so you can play any deck that has Cunning, and it allows you to return, it makes you return all non-leader units to his owner's hand. So if yours and your opponent's non-leader units go back to hand, but the leader stays. So if you've taken out your opponent's leader, and you got your leader, everything goes back apart from your leader, and then you can play them back out, so you can trigger things that are on-play effects, stuff like that, and then clear the board outside of outside of the leaders. So if you want to play a more controlling game and have kind of like a Swiss Army knife and adapt to any situation, Cunning is a good one for you, and it's pretty nice cards to go with it too. Now, with you also have access to the Villainy cards. That cards are just Villainy, but the problem is most of the Villainy cards, especially for set 1, more involve having the Imperial tag or Imperial stuff. And where Qira is not an Imperial, she's an Underworld. There's not many just Villainy cards that are actually really good for her. But there are some that are quite nice. Like you got Viper Prodroid, which doesn't care about Imperial, so you can still be used quite well. That allows you to, when played, give you a solid unit, especially on turn 1 being free too. But also you have a little sneak peek at your opponent's hand to kind of see what they've got, to see so you can know right, they've got this, you can play around that, or know, expect what they're going to play, and kind of help count around it. Also, you've got Cell Block Guard as well. This is a nice little one that gives you a Sentinel, and also you can give it a shielded Qira as well. So remember, because you can deal 2 damage, you give it a shield, have it protected out, and then while Qira's deployed, it protects her from being attacked into if your opponent's trying to take her out and attack into her, because Sentinel means your opponent can't attack into your other units in the same arena or base. They have to attack into Sentinel if it's once there. Also, you have a pretty nice new event called No Bargain, which is a 3 cost event that makes each opponent discard a card from hand and you draw a card. So if you want to go for a bit like of a hand control deck with it, which you can do if you go Cunning and stuff, you can go for a hand control route, and also because of the trick, it's reduced by 1 if you have played Jabba. So if you played a 4 cost Jabba unit, which I forgot to put on this the slides, you can reduce it by 1, making it a 2 cost rather than a 3 cost, which is very nice, and a nice little trick to go with it. But then you might be thinking, what do you get in just a normal, what do you get from the aspects Qira offers being Vigilance? Well, yeah, being Vigilance. Well, if you don't want to go, double Vigilance, but you want to combine it with either Cunning, Aggression, or Command, you might probably want to see what the blue side of it does to go with it. Well, as we said, blue is all about healing and kind of holding out and basically just playing the long game essentially. So you got some pretty nice units to go with it. So you got Scout Pack Pursuer, which is a pretty good one, a 2 cost, and it comes in with 1/4, so not the best stats, but it does have grit. So any damage it takes converts into power, and that works perfectly with Qira because by paying 1 and doing 2 damage to it, you get to give a shield token to it to protect it from damage once. But then grit converts into damage, making it a 3/4, and it's shielded for that first time we take damage. You can attack it, cycle your opponent attacks to it. You survive because of the shield, but they take the 3 damage. You also got Dr. Pershing as well, be a nice one that kind of goes well with Scout by Pursuer, be able to ping damage on it by tapping yourself to draw a card. So load up damage, power on Scout by Pursuer for the damage through grip, and then also draw you some more cards to give you more options. And another, because you've got some pretty good turn 1 plays here, and that is Inferno 4, being a nice one where either when it's played or when it's defeated, you can look at the top 2 cards of your deck, and any cards you want to keep on top of your deck, you put back there, and the rest go at the bottom of your deck. Well, you put any number on the bottom of your deck and keep the rest on top. And not only that, you have some really good events in blue as well. So you have Power Dark Side, which is a card that is very, very good. The lower, smaller your opponent's board is, but worse than bigger your opponent's board is. Because if they got more things, then they got more options, and they're normally going to kill off the weakest one that they don't care about. But if they got less options, like just 1 on board, then they're forced to have to kill that one because the effect is to you make an opponent choose a unit they control and defeat it. So if they got very few units, like just 1, even just a leader on board, this forces them to kill it. But if they got more on board, then they can just choose the weakest one they don't care about. And you even got things like Suture Feelings as well. Being a really nice event, allows you to switch your deck for any card and draw it, and the only one to really shuffle your deck, and allow you to kind of find what you want and at your hand. But it does cost 4, but it's a very nice one, giving you whatever you want. So that's the Villainy side of blue. But on the normal side of blue, you also got some really good events as well, and pretty good units. So you got Welshire Tree Tender. Once again, another good unit that can kind of make use of Qira by having crit. So you can throw some damage on it to give it a shield, and then that damage will convert to power. So making Welshire Tree Tender a 4/4, but with a shield. So take 2 damage, but have a shield and have 4 power now because of grip. And you've got Embo, who can just healing the damage off things as well. Because you can put a shield on something by putting 2 damage on, putting 2 damage on a friendly unit and giving it a shield. But then Embo can attack and take out a unit, and if it does, it heals 2 damage from a unit, being either itself or a unit you've kind of dealt damage to put a shield on Qira. I mean, you can keep using her effect. Not only that, you also have Converted Strength, which is a nice one to kind of coincide with Qira's effect. Because Qira puts 2 damage on and a shield on it. So it's 2 damage on the unit to give a shield to it. But Convert Strength is a 1-cost event that allows you to heal 2 damage from a unit and give an experience token to it. So you can use Qira to put 2 damage on it and give it a shield. And then Convert Strength to heal that 2 damage off and give a token to it. So it's got a shield and experience and no damage on it. And this is a nice one because if you don't want it, if it's not useful at any point, you can always resource it because you can then smuggle it in later to kind of make use of it. And not only that, but blue has a lot, well, even like set 2 now, it's got a lot of events. It's got at least 4 events to killing units. You've got Take Down and Fell the Dragon here, being 4-cost events, allow you to like take out units, being Take Down, allow you to defeat anything, including a leader that has 5 or less from your HP, so you have to be wary of that when Qira is deployed. Where she takes damage takes half of her health as damage, you go down to 4, being a Takedown could just take her out, so be wary of that. And you've got Fell the Dragon, which allows you to defeat anything that's not a leader that has 5 or more power, so very good units for a cost. You even got the ones I don't have here, being a 5-cost event being Vanquished, allowing you to defeat any non-leader unit, anyone not whatsoever. And then Rivals Fall, which is a 6-cost, allows you to kill any unit, even leader units. So you got Vanquished that can kill anything that's not a leader, Rivals Fall, which can kill anything, and then these 2, which can kill things within certain criteria. So that is it for the for Qira. So hopefully that's explained about like what each aspect combination gives you, a bit about Qira, like helping you understand how to build it, kind of build it the best way to suit you and your playstyle. And if it is helpful, do let me know in the description bar below, and I'll be doing this for all the leaders in set 2 as I did with set 1. So that's it from me today. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one, which should be covering. I can't remember which one the next one's covering now. That's it, Finn. We'll be covering Finn in the next one, so if you're interested in that one, stay tuned, and I'll catch you then. Bye for now.
Like a boss.